Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 30th, and right now we are looking at the visible satellite imagery here across the Pacific Northwest. You can see BC, Washington, Oregon. Here goes the sunrise coming across the region here on the GO 17 satellite imagery. Arctic air continues to pour off the coast of British Columbia here, feeding this cold air back into the Pacific Northwest. Big mountain snows. You can see the strong frontal system went through western Washington, now down across southern Oregon. Big mountain snows for the Oregon Cascades today, including portions on in through northeast Oregon, northeast Washington, Spokane, Idaho Panhandle, off through western Montana as well. And now we're going to develop another little low pressure system out here today that's going to move across southwest Washington, introducing a potential for some more snowfall down here to the lowlands of western Washington, and we could really get some snow showers all the way down to the Willamette Valley. As you can see, this very cold air spilling out over the Pacific Ocean here. Even a thunderstorm is possible here on the Oregon coast. Jumping right into things here is the CoCoRaHS. You can see the heavy wet snowfall that occurred mostly north of Seattle. Power outages were included with that too, weighing down some of the branches and trees, knocking out power. Had 1.3 inches at my house yesterday. Snoqualmie passed 22 inches of very fluffy, powdery snow yesterday. Very nice. I was at North Bend yesterday watching that blowing snow come across, gust 40 miles per hour as well. Quite a dynamic storm here across Pacific Northwest, folks. Winter storm warning still in effect for some of the Washington Cascades. Continued snowfall off and on today. Big snows across the Oregon Cascade. High wind warnings for some of the coast. Wind advisories all the way down through Northern California here. And you can see some wind advisories for northeast Oregon. The winter storm warnings here still for eastern Washington, Idaho Panhandle down across the higher terrain, not including the valley down here across Idaho. But you can see western Montana with winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories as well. Now looking down towards Medford, Oregon here. Great graphic showing the big time snowfall impacts here across some of the Siskiyou Summit, Klamath Falls. Bigger amounts the higher you go, of course, but look at some of these strong winds, 30 to 50 miles per hour across some of the ridges and the higher terrain, Cascades, Shasta Valley, and the coast especially. Another graphic here from Medford, Oregon here, Wednesday night through Thursday p.m., the worst time to travel. Chain controls, lengthy delays, possible road closure. So heads up, don't travel if you don't have to. Another this graphic is really nice here from the Medford National Weather Service. Taking a look here, Missoula National Weather Service showing the impacts out here for Montana on through Friday. Big mountain snows, valley snows possible, patchy freezing rain, even on Wednesday, blowing snow. Heads up if you are traveling eastbound, anywhere really east of the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, for winter driving conditions are going to be a certainty, basically, and especially as you start heading up towards the higher terrain through Montana as well. Now looking here, this is the HRRR 17Z. Let's go ahead and put this into motion here today. And you can see the big snows for the Cascades of Oregon here, sliding down south through Washington the day today. Then you'll notice the uptick here as it starts to move back northward towards Tacoma and even Seattle a little bit here. Could bring some measurable snowfall along the I-5 corridor here, places like Kent, Covington, some of the higher terrain as you move southeast out of Tacoma and Olympia here, also Southern Cascades through tonight. Some of the models are showing this come a little bit further north last night, so we have to watch this closely. These little waves, little low pressure systems that ride in like that can easily spread snow further north than forecast. Now taking a look here, the European last night's run put this into motion. You can see that wave here also moving across southwest Washington. Could bring that snow all the way up towards Seattle as we go in through tonight and tomorrow morning. You can see it hanging around in this troughing here across Pacific Northwest. The snowfall continues, especially up in the mountains. Now taking a look here, this is as of this morning, strong frontal system driving down through Oregon here. The next low pressure system forms here on the European and rides in through southwest Washington, kind of showing you the general troughing over the region here. This moves on, cooler air across British Columbia here through Thursday morning. Going to cool down pretty well Friday morning too across the region here. Some temperatures down into the 20s even for the metro areas. Next system starts rolling in here through Friday, and this could bring some lowland snowfall across the region too. We're going to have to watch this one closely. I'll show you some snowfall totals here in a moment, what this system could bring. Now taking a look here at temperatures, let's go through today. You can see some mid-30s out there for the Puget Sound, even not to the lower 40s up towards the San Juans, Willamette Valley, coastal areas as well. But then we start to cool down here as we go into the overnight hours across the Puget Sound, especially off the water here a little bit. And the Willamette Valley is going to cool down nicely and towards tomorrow morning as well. As that system moves through, you could get some accumulating snows. Again, I'd like to mention it again, the I-5 corridor, especially Olympia South. And then as we go on in through Thursday night here, watch Friday morning cool off across the region. Look at Seattle all the way down to 23 here. Tacoma 23, some teens off in the foothills. In the 20s, Willamette Valley too, so hard freeze probably coming up here as we go through Friday morning. Then that next system, a rise, is going to throw some moisture back into this cold air as we go through Friday. So it should be an interesting evolution of how this next system on Friday is going to come in. We'll watch that closely. We'll go over that again tomorrow as well, as it's probably going to change a little bit here. So as we go through the day today, see some northerlies coming down the sound here, and the southerlies still coming across Oregon here. So this is going to mark where this wave starts to move in across the region here, and kind of see the southerly winds meet up with some northerly winds here. Could kind of be an interesting scenario here, and some kind of convergence deformation band on the north side of this wave as it moves into the southern Washington Cascades here on the day Thursday. See the Fraser River outflow going on here Thursday morning as well, and start to spread some northerlies down the Puget Sound, and then it's going to cool us off pretty well through Friday morning as the next system will rise there that I mentioned just a minute ago. Now taking a look here, a wider view of things here, 4-kilometer resolution UW model. You can see the accumulating snow as we go through the day today, kind of tapering off from north to south across the Cascades. Big snows for the Oregon Cascades today. Look at northeast Washington, including Spokane, Idaho Panhandle, northeast Oregon, getting nice snowfall today. Look at this just piling up across the Rockies, all the way down just north of the valley here in Idaho for the higher terrain. And then you can see the snow just skirting the Seattle region here out towards Kent, Covington, maybe hitting Tacoma, Olympia, I-5 corridor south here on the UW model. Take a closer look at that here. Now we're focused on western Washington. You can see the snowfall this morning there. And then here comes the next wave across the region there. Look at this. It includes Kent, clips SeaTac here. And look at that I-5 from Centralia, Olympia south. Could get some pretty good disruptive snowfall amounts. Temperature might be right around or just below freezing while that is occurring too. So it could get pretty slick out there. And as we scroll ahead a little bit further here we go on into Friday morning, and you can see some snowfall from Friday's system as we go into Friday afternoon and evening, overtake Seattle up towards Everett again, even all the way up towards Bellingham. We still have some northeast winds coming out of the Fraser River Gap here as we go on into Friday night and Saturday morning. So that could bring some additional snowfall. This will probably change a couple times here. You guys know how this goes with the snowfall amounts looking out into the forecast. Now taking a look here, the snow total accumulation on the HRRR. Here goes that wave moving across the area, so that accumulating snowfall possible Olympia south, and just kind of missing Seattle here on the latest HRRR. But look at these snowfall amounts building up through the Oregon Cascades and places off through northeast Washington, Idaho Panhandle, northeast Oregon. Nice winter storm here, folks. Now we're going to take a look here at the European on the left, GFS on the right here. This is 18,000 feet. You can see the polar lobe here bringing us our storm system last night, keeping the trough open here for tomorrow morning system. It's going to move through southwest Washington. Another polar lobe kind of moves out over here for Friday's system there. Could get a little bit of an overrunning event like I mentioned. Get out into the extended a little bit further here. You can see as we go on into next week, in the following week, you can see the polar lobes continuing to move around the area here. This would be more favorable in the European for colder weather, but the GFS is also active as we go through the extended. So we're not going to get caught up in those details too much just yet. But I wanted to point something out here. Look at this ridge building over Greenland here. This could actually back things up all the way through Western Canada and bring some chillier air across the region. That's kind of what's shown here in the extended with this big blocking ridge over Greenland here, and bringing that cooler air over Western Canada through the extended. But that's way out there right now. It's just kind of an interesting feature that I'm seeing a lot of meteorologists talk about here on Twitter recently, so I thought I'd point it out. More on that here in a minute. Now taking a look, you can see that Arctic air that spawned yesterday's system out there across western Washington. Again, it hit mainly Seattle northward with some dynamic cooling with that strong frontal system that drove down across the area here. And you can see that Arctic air still across British Columbia as we go through Friday here, feeding that next system there. And then we kind of start to warm up a bit here across British Columbia into next weekend, but this weekend, but it could be just a temporary thing here, and we'll watch that in the days to come. Now checking out California really quick here. Frontal system still on tap to come across California here. As you can see, this is going into Thursday night and Friday. Checking out the precipitation totals. Here goes that front sweeping down across the Bay Area, all the way down towards Southern California there. Big totals here for the Sierra Nevada. That's going to fall in more mainly the form of snow. Here goes the overall view here as we go. This is last night's European run. Big snowfalls, like I said, across Northern California, Oregon, Washington, Cascades. Really the entire higher terrain here of the West, including the Sierra Nevada here, all the way down through Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, just big snowfall amounts. Very good for snowpack early in the season here. And then you can see kind of Friday's system bringing some potential additional snowfall into the lowlands here. Doesn't look like a huge system right now, but we'll watch that again closely tomorrow and see what's changed. Now taking a look here, this is the European. Again, looking at the northern hemisphere, I just wanted to run through this Greenland big blocking that's coming up here as we go on in through the following week here, just kind of hanging out over Greenland. Could back things up and bring some colder air down across Western Canada. That's kind of what I'm watching out for the extended forecast right now. Now we're looking at the upper levels of the stratosphere here, known as the polar vortex here. So what I want to show you here is watch how you can see this ridging build up over Greenland here. Look at this big split in the polar vortex. One of them over Siberia here, one of them over North America here. Big split with huge ridging here across Greenland, and that's what could potentially bring some colder weather back to Western Canada here on through the extended. Something to watch for now. Just pretty interesting here to see such a big split in the polar vortex at those altitudes, and you can really see that ridging across Greenland here. Now 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Precipitation outlook is above average here for much of the West. Temperatures also below average here as we go on in through early and mid December here. Now look at here, we got the Northwest Avalanche Center is now active. You can see considerable avalanche danger out there. We have multiple layers of snow. I could see it up there at the pass yesterday. Some pretty good powder on top of what was laid down already, but some of the higher slopes are going to be susceptible to avalanches, as you can see, with the considerable danger going on here, and some moderate as well, including Mount Hood down there as well. So this is a great website here. Again, this is the the Northwest Avalanche Center, sorry, but this is now in full winter operations here. So good tool there before you head out into the backcountry. So yeah, what a storm. I mean, yesterday, some pretty good snowfall amounts northward. Had a pretty good snowfall down even south of Seattle. Yesterday was pretty disruptive for SeaTac as well. A lot of de-icing, a lot of delays, a lot of cancellations. So it's just kind of the name of the game here when you bring such a winter storm into a region where we don't normally get a lot of lowland snowfall. So it's not like, I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to prepare for something that doesn't happen that often. But the problem is when it does happen, you really pay the price trying to get out of places like SeaTac and Portland when it starts snowing. So, big system here. We have the potential for a couple more rounds of lowland snowfall. Things are going to be dynamic, and they're going to be changing here over the next couple of days. We're going to have a wave right up tonight, which could include Seattle, or it could not, and it could potentially drop some snow across I-5 down there south of Olympia here. You can continue to see that Arctic air pour off. Another system will arrive Friday after we've cooled down for much of the region too. Another possible overrunning event there, but not as strong a frontal system as what you see sliding down south through Oregon that impacted western Washington yesterday. So anyway, yeah, keep leaving the comments below. We have 100 members now. I'm very proud of every one of you guys. Make this channel possible. You make it fun. Keep the comments coming. Another thing I wanted to mention is there's so many comments coming in now that I am able to see them, but I can't respond to all of them, but keep them coming. I love seeing it. A lot of positive energy on this channel versus a lot of other channels on YouTube where there's a lot of negative comments. We do pretty well here, and we're getting a pretty tight-knit community here on the channel. So let's keep it up and keep it going, and we'll do this again tomorrow as well as always, and we'll check out to see what's changed. So I'll talk to you guys then.